You're listening to the SNL Fan Podcast, and I'm your host, just some guy named Jay. And in this installment of the SNL Fan Podcast, basically what I want to do is kind of give some predictions of what I think the 2013-2014 season is going to be like. And these predictions are just basically based on kind of the history of SNL and kind of seeing this very large cast that they have right now. But before I even make my predictions, I just want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to ACM Records. ACM Records is a large independent record company with hundreds of artists on the label from all types of different genres of music, from hip hop to country music to classical to rock to industrial metal, techno, all types of genres of music. You should definitely listen. I keep getting tongue tied. You should definitely listen to the artists that they have signed to the label. They have salsa. I mean, all kind of genres of music. And each and every one of the artists is very talented. And I'm gonna put the links in the information box below so you can check out more music from ACM Records. And also too, if anybody ever thought about maybe one day getting into the music industry, not as a performer or an artist yourself, but just maybe on the business side of things, ACM Records are looking for individuals to join their street team, and I'm gonna put the link to that in the information box below as well. So if you're ever thinking about because joining the street team is definitely a good way to kind of jumpstart that. Something to put on your resume. You can get some connections. You can meet some people. And just kind of work the angles and move up, and maybe one day you will be the vice president or something of ACM Records. Who knows? The opportunities are endless. So definitely check out ACM Records. And enough about me rambling on about our sponsors. Let me talk about my predictions on this SNL Fan Podcast. All right. Basically, what I want to say is that blood will be shed this season. First of all, the cast is big, like it was back in the early '90s when they had Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and Chris Farley and Rob Schneider and David Spade. They had a whole bunch of featured cast members, and they had a whole lot of and this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the featured cast will be featured more on the show than the actual main cast, because you remember when Chris Farley and David Spade and all them were coming into the cast, and Dana Carvey and them, they were still there. It seemed like Dana Carvey and them and Victoria Jackson and Kevin Nealon, they weren't really getting the airtime like they used to. It was like Chris Farley and Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler, they were just taking over. They were the featured cast members. Even Ellen Cleghorne. Ellen Cleghorne was doing more than like Victoria Jackson, and Julius Sweeney was doing more, So it's like those featured people, had a bigger role on the show than the actual, the main cast. And I think this season, the 2013-2014 season, will just be more of that. Just more of the featured performers getting to do their thing, more of the new guys being featured. Like I said in the previous podcast, I think Taran, Killam, Bobby Moynihan, and Jay Farrell, they're going to be the next Paul Britton. They're going to be the next Jeff Richard. The guys they're not going to get featured much. That's my opinion. And Jay Farrell doesn't really get featured that much anyway. And Bobby Moynihan, he pretty much, he just plays fat people, when they need one. Aidy Aidy might take over for that, But the five people they have, man, I think a lot of them are going to really be featured heavily. Another prediction I have is I think Lorne, I think they're going to really push Cecily this year, even though she's doing Weekend Update. I think it's going to be kind of like when Amy Poehler did Weekend Update, when because Amy Poehler was doing Weekend Update and she was like almost in every other skit, and I think the same thing is going to happen. Even Chevy Chase in the first year when he did Weekend Update, he pretty much was featured heavily all over the show, and he did Weekend Update. So I think Cecily Strong might be the big star next season, because she gets to say her name at the Weekend Update desk every every new show. She goes, "Hi, this weekend update, and I'm Cecily Strong." So people were going to keep hearing her name. If you didn't know her name last season, you just kind of knew her as the drunk girl who you didn't want to talk to at a party. You're going to know she's Cecily Strong this season. I bet you. And she already got just as much airtime as the main cat. She got more airtime than Vanessa and Nasim, I think. She did more memorable things than they did, in my opinion. Because Nasim, she was missing in action a lot last season. I don't even know why she's showing up to work this season. Because it seems like it's just going to be the Cecily Strong show. So that's my another thing. I think the featured cast members will be all over the place. Cecily Strong is going to be all over the place. It's going to kind of lead the cast. Another thing, I think Kenan Thompson, if this is not his last season, I think the writers are going to really give Kenan Thompson a lot to do. And I know Kenan Thompson, he looks kind of like, like he's sticking out like a sore thumb. Well, not really like a sore thumb. He's kind of sticking out like a black guy in a cast full of white people. He's just noticeable. But Kenan Thompson, I think the writers are used to him, and he's not. I think they like him over there at SNL. So I think they're going to really like. I think Kenan is kind of going to end up being like that. Not like how Bill Hader was, because Bill Hader, he's kind of like a Phil Hartman guy. But I think Kenan is going to be the guy that they're going to call on when they need like those safe roles to be filled, when they're not sure that the other people can play them. Because I think Kenan's going to kind of be their go-to guy when they need somebody to do certain type of roles. Maybe like I think it's like they need somebody to do a game show host, or need somebody to play a cop, or need somebody to play the police. Need somebody to play the guy at the store. I think they're just going to keep calling on Kenan because they just know that Kenan's going to put in some work in that. And he's going to give a solid, at least a decent enough performance to where the skit won't be a disaster. Because one of these new people might pull a Jenny Slate. Who knows? Somebody might read the wrong cue card and might let the F-bomb slip or something. So who knows? Also going back to when I said blood will be shed. I think it's going to be very competitive next season. Behind the scenes. I think behind the scenes of SNL, which we will not know unless James Franco shows up and wants to do another documentary. I think behind the scenes it's going to be war. I think people are going to really be fighting to get their pieces on. And I think since they're going to be really competing like that, I think this is going to really bring out the best in a lot of the writing and a lot of the performers, But then again, I think, it might not, sometimes, I think in certain cases it might not even bring out the best. Because if Lorne and the head writer, Seth and Lorne and, I guess whoever gets to make those decisions of what skits get to make it, they might just be picking crap. And so I guess that might be kind of underwhelming to the cast, and they might go, why give it my all if they're just going to pick a crappy skit anyway? I might as well do a crappy skit in order to get on. I hope that's not what happens, but because I definitely want to be entertained, which I know SNL is capable. They're going to do that anyway. They could just show up and just kind of talk to the audience for like 90 minutes, and I think it's amazing. It's still SNL at the end of the day. So those are kind of my predictions. I think, like I said, it's going to be Cecily Strong all over the place. The new guys are going to get a lot to do, and Kenan Thompson, I think he's going to be kind of like that backbone, the guy that they go to when they just need, a role to fill. And I think Bobby Moynihan, Taran Killam, and Jay Farrell, I just think, oh my God, they're not. I hope they know how to fight. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to do. Plus another thing too, I think Tim Robinson as a writer, I think Tim Robinson is gonna just pitch out a bunch of stuff. I think he's just gonna just stay pitching things, that are just gonna be crazy, And I think this might, like I said, this might end up being a good move, because I think Tim Robinson is one of those guys that has a lot of great ideas, but he just doesn't really execute them like that, But we'll see. the season premieres this weekend, and I hope I have this podcast up before the weekend because I get lazy. Well, not really lazy. Well, in addition to getting lazy, I get swamped with other work to do. But that's all I like to say. Oh yeah, that's not all I like to say. I'd like to say one other thing too. ACM Records, check it out. Check out the music. Check out the artists, and definitely check out the links in the information box below. All right, that's it. I'm just some guy named Jay. That's all I like to say. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.